Hello, friends, and welcome back to Five Agendas as we do this thought paper from Watchman What of the Night for October 21st, titled Tovia Singer, Fallen Temple, Restoration of the So-Called 10 Tribes. This is part 3. Yes, it might appear to be the real deal, but does it have any meaning for our time? Of course, genealogies don't matter anymore in respect to the restoration of the so-called 10 tribes. Even though people who would return back to Israel claiming genetic descent along with some historical proof, which is valid, would not amount to anything, since the 70 weeks of Daniel already closed and the favored nation status and genetic descent doesn't matter anymore. Yet this doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It surely does, and will be employed in the form of a universal deception. Many Bible readers, including scholars and laymen, get confused in reference to the Bible prophecies of Isaiah, Ezekiel, and others, which reveal a restoration of the 10 tribes of Israel back to their land in Palestine. The question to be asked is the following: is this still valid today from a New Testament perspective? The answer would be a yes and a no, on account of the fact that the last days of Earth's history will bring about many theological deceptions that will take the world captive. A couple of years ago, the writer of this article was watching a program on Pastor Benny Hinn, contributing huge amounts of money to fly Christians out of Russia and other places. Evidently, the name of the project was On Wings of Eagles, and Pastor Hinn believed that he was fulfilling the prophecy itself of Jewish restoration in the latter days back in their own land, whereas the Bible mentions that it would happen in the latter days and appears to be happening. But could there be a major error hidden as in underlying error? The answer is yes, on account of the fact that the restoration of the people back to their land is closely linked with the concept of the rebuilt Third Temple in Jerusalem. The problem is the following. Jesus stated the following, and most Christians would do well to listen very carefully to what Jesus is stating in the following passages. Matthew 23. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that killeth the prophets, and stoneth them that are sent unto her. How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as an hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. For I say unto you, ye shall not see me henceforth, till ye shall say, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. The words of Jesus, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as an hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. Many will read these words and never in their lifetime associate the matter with the so-called upcoming restoration of the 12 tribes of Israel. But here it is clear as daylight. Dispersions are on account of disobedience, and regatherings are based on a return to truth. Now, Jesus states, How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as an hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not? Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. Jesus stated that a true restoration of the 12 tribes of Israel would not happen ever again. Since the matter of true restoration resides in the heart in relation to the acceptance of the true Messiah, whereas a restoration based on genealogical descent has no meaning if acceptance of Jesus Christ is not in the human heart or the prophetic picture. It then becomes a counterfeit restoration. So how do we prove this? Galatians 4. Notice what the Apostle Paul stated in Galatians 4. For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, one by the handmaid and one by the free woman. Howbeit the son by the handmaid is born after the flesh, but the son by the free woman is born through promise. Which things contain an allegory, for these women are 2 covenants, one from Mount Sinai, bearing children unto bondage, which is Hagar. Now this Hagar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to the Jerusalem that now is, for she is in bondage with her children. But the Jerusalem that is above is free, which is our mother. For it is written, Rejoice, thou barren that bearest not. Break forth and cry, thou that travailest not. For more are the children of the desolate than of her that hath the husband. Now notice what Paul has stated and its fulfillment, as stated by John in Revelation, where the new heavens and the new earth, and what was described by Paul as the free woman. It says, And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth are passed away, and there is no more sea. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, made ready as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of the throne saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he shall dwell with them, and they shall be his peoples, and God himself shall be with them. And he carried me away in the spirit to a mountain, great and high, and showed me the holy city, Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. Her light was like unto a stone most precious, as it were a jasper stone, clear as crystal, having a wall great and high, having 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. The bottom line is what Jesus stated about the earthly Jerusalem, that he wouldn't gather it, and that it would remain desolate. Whereas, in contrast, in the New Jerusalem, which is above, there is a restoration of some sort, as well as the fact that the 144,000 are also represented as the antitypical restoration of the spiritual 144,000, and not the flesh of human genealogy that arrived from India or Africa or any other part of the world, and have acceptance in Israel based solely on genetics and customs of ancient Israel, that perhaps they may still observe and are akin to the practices of the ancient Israelites, in addition to pagan customs that are non-biblical. Keep in mind that there was a prophecy in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, regarding the messenger of the covenant arriving at his temple. Behold, it says, I send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord whom ye seek will suddenly come to his temple. And the messenger of the covenant, whom ye desire, behold, he cometh, saith Yahweh of hosts. But who can abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire and like fuller's soap. And he will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he will purify the sons of Levi and refine them as gold and silver, and they shall offer unto Yahweh offerings in righteousness. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Yahweh, as in the days of old, and as in ancient years. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against the false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the sojourner from his right. And fear not me, saith Yahweh of hosts, for I, Yahweh, change not. Therefore, ye, O sons of Jacob, are not consumed. "400 years of silence had passed with Malachi, being the last prophetic voice announcing the arrival of two individuals, and one of them would be the voice in the wilderness, as stated in Isaiah, announcing the arrival of the Messiah. We know this to be John the Baptist, who, when entering the scenes of earth history, revealed himself as that precursor of the Messiah. So the voice of John the Baptist was the first voice to be prophetic after the long period of silence, and he announced the first arrival of Jesus Christ, which alluded to the fact that this angel, messenger of the covenant, would come to cleanse his Father's house. And the Lord whom ye seek will suddenly come to his temple, and the messenger of the covenant whom ye desire, behold, he cometh, saith Yahweh of hosts. Notice what is stated in Malachi 3, which was a conditional prophecy, and this was also revealed in the second segment of Isaiah 2 in relation to what just lays ahead of us in the upcoming great city of Revelation 11, which is none other than the fulfillment of Isaiah 2. It says Malachi 3:4. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Yahweh, as in the days of old and in ancient years. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, against the adulterers, and against the false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow, the fatherless, and that turn aside the sojourner from his right. And fear not me, saith Yahweh of hosts, for I, Yahweh, change not. Therefore ye, O sons of Jacob, are not consumed. Now compare this with Isaiah 2. O house of Jacob, come ye, and let us walk in the light of Yahweh. For thou hast forsaken thy people, the house of Jacob, because they are filled with customs from the east, and are soothsayers like the Philistines. And they strike hands with the children of foreigners. And their land is full of silver and gold, neither is there any end of their treasures. Their land also is full of horses, neither is there any end of their chariots. Their land also is full of idols. They worship the work of their own hands, that which their own fingers have made. And the mean man is bound down, and the great man is brought low. Now compare what Isaiah 2 states in reference to the arrival of the true Messiah after the sins of the society of the third temple are revealed. Notice that the second coming of Jesus Christ is stated in Isaiah 2:10-11. And notice the situation. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust from before the terror of Yahweh and from the glory of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be brought low, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day. Isaiah 2:10-11, and Revelation 6:15-17. Look at this. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Revelation 19 presents Isaiah 2:10-11 in greater detail. It says, And I saw the heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat thereon called Faithful, True. And in the righteousness he doth judge and make war. And his eyes are as a flame of fire, and upon his head are many diadems. And he hath a name written which no man knoweth but he himself. And he is arrayed in a garment sprinkled with blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which are in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and pure. And out of his mouth proceedeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of God the Almighty. And he hath on his garment and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the birds that fly in mid-heaven, Come, be gathered together unto the great supper of God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit thereon, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, and small and great. Now notice, who is taken and thrown into the lake of fire? It's none other than the same individual of Isaiah 2, who claims to be the Messiah and teaches a counterfeit law. Come ye, and let's go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths, for out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he will judge between the nations, and will decide concerning many peoples, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Jesus once stated that if another came in his own name, you would believe him. John 5:43. Revelation 19 says, And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat upon the horse and against his army. Now notice who is taken and thrown into the lake of fire. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet, that wrought the signs in his sight, wherewith he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. They too were cast alive into the lake of fire that burneth with brimstone. and the rest were killed with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, even the sword which came forth out of his mouth, and all the birds were filled with their flesh. Conclusion: Zechariah 9 and Isaiah 2. Messiah ben Ephraim of Zechariah 9 equals Daniel 11:45 equals Revelation 17. Is defeated by the eighth king. This Messiah ben Ephraim in Zechariah 9 and 11:45 and Revelation 17 is defeated by the eighth king. The eighth king equals Revelation 17:11, Isaiah 2:2-4, and Daniel 8:23-24. Is defeated by Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, equals Revelation 19. Tovia has not resolved the fallen temple, and Zechariah 9 in its completeness with Isaiah 2. And that, friends, is to be continued. God bless.